parents and teachers. Today we are going to work on some math skills. And so I want to show you some things that you need to do every day with your child. And I was thinking right now when I'm filming this, it is in the middle of the virus scare in March of 2020, so we're not in school. And I know I've had a lot of parents reaching out to me and asking me what they should be doing with their 5 or 6-year-old child. This goes for 4-year-olds too, things you can work on. And so you'll find ways to adapt this to whatever age your child is, or your student if you're a teacher watching this video. I want to make sure that you have access to things that you need. So don't forget that if you have questions or comments, you can always reach me through my blog, and I will put a link to that at the bottom. Now today our standard is about math skills, and one that I always think about first, and it's a good one for parents to work on with their children, is I can count to 100 by ones. So that's something that teachers usually need help from parents on that, because it's hard for us to listen to every child count to 100 by ones every day. So I have 19 students. You can imagine that is me listening to 19 students count to 100. In first grade, it is our 120 that we want them to count to. So I like to hear them count to 120, and we do that through exercising. And so in the next video, I will be doing some exercises with your child or your student. Make sure that you play that video for them that goes along with this video. So we're working on this. I can count to 100 by ones, but let's go ahead and extend their learning. This may be very easy for your child. And so the next one we can work on is I can count to 100 by tens. And so that's something that all kindergarten students need to know. This is a Common Core standard, and in Tennessee where I teach, we also need to be able to count to 100 by fives. So I'm going to go ahead and work with my child on all of those things. I want her to be able to count to 120 by ones, count to 100 by tens, and also by fives. If you don't live in Tennessee, it may not be part of your standards to count by fives, but I still think it's a great thing for them to work on when you feel like they really have a strong understanding of counting by tens. Now, if your child is struggling with number sense, let me give you a few tips for that. What I like to do is pick out a color and just put up the numbers 1 through 10. And I put them in a certain color, maybe all red. You could do index cards or write them with a red marker. Later, after we've practiced recognizing and they can identify all of those numbers out of order, you can add the next set. So you would add 11 through 20 with a different color. So maybe it's a red for 1 through 10, orange for 11 through 20. Then you do your next set in another color. So I want to show you a picture of what the apple in my room sometimes looks like when we are working on identifying numbers. One little game I like to play is with this apple. I'll hide a little picture behind some of the numbers and ask students to identify the number. And so they might say, I think there is a picture behind number 14. We'll go up, I might let them lift it up, or I can lift it up. If they found the missing card, and it could be any card, just a little star, or a basketball, or whatever is a picture of something that they like underneath there. Sometimes I have one that has a little piece of candy behind it, and they will get to have a little piece of candy if they find the missing card. That is the missing card game, and they really enjoy that game. Other things you can do, write the numbers 1 through 10, cut them up, hide them around your house, and then the kids can go and find the number. So many ways to extend their learning with that. I can count forward from a given number. So we want to be able to start from any number and count forward. So if I started them at 56, they need to be able to say 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, and so forth. You can do that for numbers 1 through 20, 1 through 50, 1 through 100. I want my students to be able to easily do that for numbers 1 through 100. You can see that there are lots of standards for working on number sense and counting. Make sure you're doing that with your child every single day. A couple of other different ideas would be just tossing a ball back and forth, or a balloon. Kids love to do that with a balloon. Counting by ones, counting by tens that way, and by fives. They love to do that. I've had some really inventive parents think of some great ways to work on this with their students at home. So you could be slapping a card with maybe like a fly swatter, slapping a card with different numbers on it to count up or to count forward. You could be slapping them in order. I've seen parents have some kind of soft or squishy ball that they're throwing at paper plates. Maybe those are hung up on the wall with different numbers and that they're throwing those at paper plates. You can also try bowling using 2 liters if you have those available, or maybe you have a little bowling set that you could write the numbers on. There's so many different ways to make this really, really fun for your kids, and it's such a great one for getting active. I also like to write numbers outside using chalk and let my students go around bouncing a ball onto each of the numbers and counting forward. Maybe you could do it with hopscotch. So many good ideas for practicing counting. I hope your children really love this next video where I will go over counting to 100 by 1s, 5s, and 10s with them. We'll also work just a little bit on counting forward from a given number. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you can see future videos to help you and your children.